Hi, everybody. I'm Matt.
I'm Dean.
Welcome to another episode of The Real DMV, your backstage pass to all things film-related in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. Dean, it's been a little while since we've been behind the camera. We've been busy with ourselves, but we have I would say, a really interesting podcast today.
Yeah, we've been able to nail down our buddy Jim Klock. Jim's a local guy that actually went to Hollywood. He's kind of back and forth in between here in L.A. He's got a different perspective on the DMV area and how that compares to his time in L.A. And we were able to talk a lot about the different things that he's been on, the sets that he's been on, his perspective on self-tapes, his perspective on the industry, and what it's like to work at different levels.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy has been in everything from Green Book to NCIS. Boy, I'm going to forget them all because we talked about so much, but he's got a long list of things that he's done and a really successful career. And he talked, like you said, he talked about all kinds of really cool things that, you know, we as new actors or anybody really at any level, and he talked about levels, would want to know.
We had a lot of fun with him here today. So without further ado, Jim Klock. We've been waiting a long time for this. I'll let you tell the story of how I hit you up with 10 different emails.
One thing you mentioned before we started was one of the things you see, being an experienced actor yourself, is new actors getting into the industry, getting not bad direction on set necessarily, but bad advice.
Yeah, I just think something that I'm extremely passionate about now is, you know, I'm a dreamer, and I believe that as a dreamer, I should help other dreamers, you know, and it should be dreamers helping dreamers, and we all kind of go on this journey together and grow together, and you meet people along the way, and hopefully you meet people that lift you up and encourage you. And so the last several years, I've been extremely blessed to be working as a coach. Did a couple movies with Netflix coaching, and that's really opened up a section of my time and my career now where I'm really focused on how do I make sure anytime I meet a young dreamer, a young actor, someone getting in, that I instill confidence in them in an encouraging, inspirational way, and not fear and add on to anxiety. And what I see a lot of times, a lot of the actors that come to me, and some of these are working actors, they're people that are already successful, but they come to me and they're so full of anxiety. And a lot of that comes from bad coaching or bad teaching. Now, I'm not going to get involved in what I think any of that stuff is or not, but what I firmly stand against is anyone that's in an artist's life who's restrictive. If they're restricting them. You know, I tell people all the time, acting is easy. That's just a fact. It's easy. And any kid who did it, we all played pretend as children. Making a living as an actor, very difficult. Being a movie star or something like that, very difficult. The art of acting is not. And the more you learn that it's really in healthy preparation, that's why I tell people all the time, really, I'm a preparation consultant because my job is to instill confidence and freedom in preparation. And I've worked with, in my opinion, many of the best in the world. Like, I believe that. I believe wholeheartedly Jamie Lee Curtis is the GOAT. And I never saw her on set tense. I never saw her on set working out a plan. I never saw her on set doing any of these things that a lot of these young actors come to me and say, well, this is what I'm hearing in class. This is what they do in my class. And I just think that there's real power in understanding that you're an artist and understanding that you can do this and understanding that acting's an art you do while acting. So go act. Actors act, producers produce, directors direct, writers write. Everyone else just talks about it. Go do it. And I just believe wholeheartedly that if you can instill in someone confidence and the freedom and confidence, you got to remember, confidence breeds confidence. Freedom breeds freedom. Excitement breeds excitement, right? Well, guess what? Anxiety breeds more anxiety. Fear breeds more fear. Self-doubt breeds more self-doubt. So I'm just a big believer in that my job now is at this stage of my career is to breathe life into other dreamers.
What do you attribute that kind of, like Jamie Lee's a great example. What do you attribute her confidence to? I mean, obviously she's got a ton of work to fall back on, and she's calm on set because she's been doing this for a million years. But do you think it's really because she's not acting? It's about truth?
Yeah, she definitely approaches the honesty of every moment, for sure. When I worked with her, it was on the first season of a TV show called Scream Queens. And I'll never forget day one of showing up. It's her and I'm a detective on the show. And I've come to this girl sorority house where she's the head of, and I'm there to warn these kids about this murder type thing, okay? And first thing I remember, and I am a stickler for being a professional. Like, I am always early. I come to work. I've already eaten. I don't need you to go get me breakfast. I fold my wardrobe up when I'm done. Like that I try to make everyone's job around me easier and better when I'm an actor. Okay. So generally speaking, you're never waiting on me. I'm always on set. I hang out on set. I don't go back to my trailer very often, all that. And she beats me to my mark. She was already there. When I got to my mark, she was already there before any of the other girls were there. And I was like, all right, this is okay. So we meet and say hi and all that. And we're waiting. And then they bring the girls in, and they're all, these are young ladies. And we do a rehearsal, and they're kind of moving the cameras around. And the one lady, she looks up at Jamie Lee, and this girl might have been 16 or 17 years old, maybe, I can't remember. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And Jamie smiles and kind of looks and she goes, my mom and I love your yogurt commercials. And
that's cool.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, with a big smile, she says, so do I. They paid for my children's college education, allowed me to be at home with my family. So she didn't take it as a knock.
Right.
She didn't say, have you not seen Trading Places?
Right.
She didn't do.
She understood the context of the generation that was looking at her at that time.
She was gracious.
Yeah.
She was funny, and she didn't make anyone feel bad. And so what I've noticed with the top tier talent is that whatever their process is, the top tier, it does not affect people in a negative way. Because what they understand, what Keanu understands, what Viggo understands, what Mahershala Ali, you talk about a gentleman, understood, is that, is my job important? Of course it is. As an actor, it is. It's no more important than the grip. And really, a lot of people are like, no, that's not true. Yes, it is. And if that's the mindset, if the mindset is every job here is important, I'm just going to do my job to the best of my ability, you're going to do your job. That's where the confidence and the calm actually comes, because the most confident actors I've worked with have no ego. And people are like, that's confusing. They're confident without ego. Don't mistake confidence for arrogance. Two different things. Woody Harrelson on True Detectives. I remember, I think I told you this story.
Yeah.
I was on True Detectives, and it's the first day I'm working, and McConaughey had to go to a film festival. Mud was playing, I think, at South by Southwest. So we ended up working all night long, no lunch break or nothing, to get these scenes done so he could get there. And I'll never forget, at the end of the day, and had so much fun working with these guys. And between action and cut, just every take was different. Watching them even do the walkthrough was uniquely different for me, right? But the thing I noticed most, and I remember leaving thinking to myself about Woody, and I said, man, that's what I want. That's what I want. And it was not his career. I'm not talking about his talent. I'm not talking about his stardom. I'm not talking about any of that. You know what it is? He was so cool, man. He was just so relaxed. And he was nice to everybody. And outside of action and cut. And I remember even one time the director saying, hey, that was a really great take. And he goes, man, they're all great, baby. Now, that
sounds like him.
That was 2013. Okay. And I made the decision. I remember seeing it and being like, that's what I want. 2017, 2018, I started to just relax. I just started to, now it was still a journey. And I feel like today I'm more like that than I've ever been. Right. But that was how many years from the time I saw it until the time I started to feel like, oh, okay. My goal is not to be comfortable on set. It's to be confident. Comfortable is boring. Comfortable is boring. No one wants to watch comfortable. It's a very different thing. comfort is like, I use the term we use in law enforcement, complacency kills. Well, comfort kills an actor. You get comfortable, then all of a sudden, no, I want to be uncomfortable. I want to be confident in that uncomfort.
We should probably back up a little bit and find out when you started and how you started and the seeds that were sown, because you're from here.
Right. I grew up in Spotsylvania, Virginia.
Okay.
Yep.
And so how did everything start for you? You're in law enforcement. And so take us through a little bit about the day that, obviously you didn't wake up one day and decide to do this full time. How did that come about?
I grew up, born and raised in Spotsylvania, Virginia. I I graduated Chancellor High School. I got into theater in high school, but I know this sounds so funny to most people watching and listening to this now, is I didn't know I could go to school for this after high school. I wasn't a very good student. I was a super lazy kid. I loved acting. I mean,
guilty.
It's just the truth. And I did my first year and I felt like I excelled. And I remember as a sophomore getting the understudy for the lead role of the play that year and saying no to it. Well, I didn't understand how much I was going to learn. I was just like, I'm not going to give up 3 months of my life to not do anything, right? Just a dumb kid. And I checked out. So I end up dropping it. I graduate high school. My favorite show at the time was a TV show called NYPD Blue. So I'm in love with this show and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I don't want to be an actor. I want to be a cop. So that was the journey I went on, right? And I became a police officer. And I always kept this little bit of in my belly though, of like, man, I'd like to get back into it one day. Maybe I'll take some acting classes one day or something. So fast forward, I start my career down south. I transfer to Alexandria Police Department in 1999. And so that August, I go back to Nova and I decide I'm going to take a acting class at Nova Community College. And so the first assignment is a monologue. So we go in for the first night, you just kind of meet people, and then she says, okay, go pick a monologue, and when you come back on next Tuesday, we're going to do these monologues. So it's 1999, I'm doing my first assignment, I go and I get this book of monologue, and I just fall in love with reading these monologues. I don't even realize it at the time. And so the first thing that happens is I had a partner at the time, his name was Sean Trimber. We worked the street together. He's an ATF agent now, I think he might have retired. And we would work out together. And so while I was working out, I'm repeating this monologue. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm in this class. I got to do this tomorrow night. I said, do you mind if I do it? He's like, sure. So I do it. And I'm thinking, did I get all the words right? Because that's what new actors always think, right? And he looks at me and he goes, dude, you're really good. So I go the next night and the professor was Dr. Brenda Lewis Holmes. Changed my life. I did the monologue. Everyone else did the monologue. As I'm leaving, she stops me. And she says, hey, Jim, can you got a minute? I said, sure. She says, I've been teaching acting for 20 years, and I've never said this to a student. You could make a living being an actor. You could do this for a living.
And that seems like the moment, right? That maybe you decided to make a turn and go, I could probably do this, or was it?
It definitely got the fire going, and I started doing plays. I did 2 plays at Nova, and then I started doing theater around DC. And then I met a great local actor and a coach guy named Michael Mack. I ended up putting Michael in a movie years later when I directed. But I met Michael. It's funny because one of my producing partners now is Luke Daniels, him and I have been friends since DC in 99, 2000. We met at Michael's Fearless Acting Studio. And so I would say Dr. Brenda Lewis Holmes got me, that was that initial thing for sure. Then I just kept doing, I was on an undercover stolen car unit that allowed me to do theater around town because I didn't start shift till 10 o'clock at night. So I was doing 12 Angry Men, and then I did this other play, and I'd rehearse and do the show, and I'd come to work and go work. So it really worked out. And then Michael Mack really was the second person. And he stopped me in the hall one day and he said, hey, man, and he doesn't even know the story. He has no idea of Dr. Brenda Lewis Holmes. And at this point, Michael had been out in LA and been successful. Like he had been on big shows and stuff. He had come back to DC to take care of his mother. And he pulls me to the side. And he says, man, he says, I'm just telling you, man, like you stay at this. He's like, you got that it factor. There's something about you. You just stay with it. And, it's funny because it's not like these people are telling me I'm going to be famous or a star. Like fame has nothing to do with it. Fame is a derivative of good work. If it comes, God bless you, right? But, the really great actors I've worked with, they don't care about fame. John Hawkes doesn't care about fame, right? Woody didn't even, obviously it's easy to say he's famous, but he just didn't. It was irrelevant. Keanu, it's irrelevant, man. It comes with the thing, but it's not like they're sitting at home, I'm so happy I'm famous, And in fact, you can still see it with Keanu. That guy is driving to be better. I mean, he's doing his first Broadway show now. That he's got one thing on his mind, and that is what he wants to do and explore and get better, right? And that's what I mean by these people. That's what Dr. Brenda Lewis Holmes, that's what Michael Mack did. They didn't come up to me and say, you're going to be famous. Stick with me, kid. That's not. But they saw something in me to speak life into it, which goes back to my original answer to your question of why I'm so passionate about instilling that in other dreamers.
Well, I love how you've parlayed acting back into law enforcement.
I absolutely would not be here today without my law enforcement career and the people who supported me. In fact, to this day, some of the biggest supporters I have, people I hear from first when I'm on a show, are my brothers and sisters from law enforcement back when I first started. That none of this is me. Like God has been so good to me. Like I have had so many doors open, relationships happen, the talents he's given me, most importantly, the work ethic God's given me, the discipline God's given me. Well, all of that was elevated in law enforcement. And one thing about me in LA is, look, you're going to go through relationships. If you're in this business long enough, you're going to, relationships are going to change. People are going to go in and out of your life. But the core values, integrity, faith, compassion, right? These things that stand for something in law enforcement, it's made me who I am in this business. And I never felt like I had to sell my soul. I've stayed part-time. I left full-time in 2005. I've stayed part-time since. And the confidence that comes from chasing this dream, knowing, well, you know what? I'm not selling my soul. I'm not going to be a liar. I'm not going to be a cheat. I'm not going to hurt someone else to get ahead, because worst case, I'll go back. I'll go back and run a scout car, man. I'll go work as a bailiff. I'll go do something else, because the job doesn't define me. It just doesn't. The people that have breathed life into me and helped me get here, that's who I want to honor, right? It's a great quote. I'm not trying to prove those who don't believe in me wrong. I'm trying to prove those who do believe in me right. And that's why it is so important to me to give back and be involved in law enforcement. I absolutely love it.
You've been on Blue Bloods, Justified, True Detective, NCIS. By the way, on NCIS, I just had a question. You got knocked out by a woman on NCIS. I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to... just wanted to bring that up.
I thought it was pretty awesome. And she was way smaller than me. I don't know if you guys could tell in the movie, like she's way smaller than me. And we had a good laugh about it when we were doing it. But I got to tell you, it was really fun. I had an amazing stunt coordinator. And my stunt man, when I told him, I was like, look, I'd like to do all the falls. I'm Krav Maga instructor. I was a DT instructor. I'm comfortable falling.
Yeah.
So he patted me up, but like they were right there every take just for us to try to work on getting it right. And she threw, I think we did a bunch of takes of that. And just to get it right, because of the size difference, to sell the punch, right, was so important. But, people laugh like, there's no way that girl could knock a big guy like that out. I'm like, you know what? Let me tell you something.
It can happen.
It can, especially the punches you don't see coming. They're usually the ones that knock you out, right?
Well, so for that one though, on set, and this is just a logistical question, are there any apple boxes for the height difference?
On this one, no. Because I'm moving when she punches me, right? It puts that apple box issue kind of in because now she'd be standing on an apple box trying to do it, and so because she has to move to throw the punch as well. So what we did was, I tried to lean into the punch just a little bit to help me kind of, because I'm 6'4", just to help kind of come down a little bit without it looking like I was leaning into the punch. And then really it was on her just to raise her arm high enough. And then a little bit of camera trick, just how they shot it. I mean, we shot a ton of angles trying to get that angle to look like she's coming down into the punch.
Any close calls where she almost actually got you?
No,
a little bit?
She's a pro. Katrina Law, oh my gosh, she was so fun to work with. Absolutely pro. No, but what was funny was on one of the last takes where I didn't even have to do the stunt because of the camera angle. I literally hit the camera with my hand because they moved in. I didn't hit my mark falling quite center, and I hit the camera. They were so worried I broke my hand, but it was just the shades. It was fine.
What I take away is like you've made like law enforcement and acting is now fully part of your DNA. Neither one of those is like a backup plan for you. But at what point, or was there like a hard point where you're like, now's the time for me to move to LA? Like, what was the impetus for that? And when did you realize this is a sustainable thing outside of law enforcement?
What happened was, so I spent my last 2 years in narcotics, and
doing them or
yeah. Well, we're offline.
We'll edit this. We always look for stuff to edit out.
Yeah. Look for this to edit out. No, I was a detective with Stafford County Sheriff's Office. I had left Alexandria and went back to Stafford. Felt a calling to go back home. Work with my best friend was in narcotics at the time. I wanted to work. Sheriff David Decatur was a major. My old sheriff, Charlie Jett, who was another super influential man in my life, like crazy influential. And in fact, when I did the TV show 24, back in I think 07, the first email I got was from Sheriff Charlie Jett. So very special men. So I wanted to go back home. I felt it was a time to do something different. And so I was there for 2 years, but while I'm there, now I had started my acting career and I had started making movies myself, right? And so while I'm working in narcotics, I book a TV show called The Wire. It's just a couple of lines, but it's a big deal, right? For a local actor, that show at the time, one of the best shows ever. And so I'm still kind of building my credits and things. So I get to the point where I'm turning 30. And there's some talk about, they're starting a new unit and maybe I'll put in to be promoted to this new unit. And so I'm like, man, I don't know. I still have this pull. I feel like I just don't know what to do, kind of thing. But I really wasn't telling a lot of people that. And then my dad got sick and my dad got leukemia. My mom calls me and I have a special needs little brother at the time. And I'm like, okay, well, all hands on deck. We got to kind of get this thing figured out. So my sheriff, Charlie Jett, was so kind to me at that time. What he did, I ran out of my leave pretty quick going to take care of my little brother. And so he said, Jim, you work your 80 hours as fast as you can and get out of here. And then come back on the second 2 weeks and knock out your 80 hours. So, in narcotics, you can work as many hours as there are in a day. Mm-hmm. And so I'd get my 80 hours in, get in the car, go to Missouri, stay 10 days, come back, do that. Well, obviously that caught up to me over time. And praise God, my dad got through that first round of leukemia. And during that time, though, I started saying, let me look at some other ways that maybe I can make more money for the family, some different things. So I actually was really close to going to Iraq to teach. I had put in to work for a company at the time. They were taking cops from here and taking them over to Iraq to teach. Yeah. And so I was really far down the line, even had a mentor kind of guy assigned to me, right? But back in the day, in order to apply for those jobs, you had to be on one of the job builders. Like how you have to do U.S. jobs to be on Gov. It was similar, right? And I'm in NARC's office one day, and all of a sudden I get an email from California. They're like, hey, your resume matches what we're looking for a security guy for our family. And I said, wow, okay, God, I'm listening, And guy flies to D.C. to meet me, the man that was looking for security. I go up to meet him at Union Station, meet him.
PSD thing.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I started praying about it and thinking about it and talked to my family about it. And it kind of was serving both worlds where I was going to make more money And I had a lot more flexibility because when the family was out of LA, I didn't have to go with them. And so I was like, okay, I can go back home, a lot of flexibility. And I was 30 with 10 years of service. So I did the math and I said, okay, well, I can give myself 5 years, come back. If I don't make it in 5 years, make a living.
Yeah.
At 35, I can come back to police work. I'm still retiring at 50 because I started so young. I was 19, right? And I talked to Sheriff Dave Decatur. I take him to lunch, or he was a major at the time. And I said, Major, I got this thing. I got this situation. I got this opportunity. I feel a call to acting. I feel like I got to give this a shot. I'll never forget. He said, go, man, go. We'll be rooting for you and you'll always have a home here. And I'm like, I look back at that now, man. I look back at that and I'm like, any other answer. If he would have looked at me and said, man, Jim, you're going to let us down, man. We were thinking about you for this other position. Narcs is finally going well. I just had a really huge case. Any other answer than that, I don't know if I go. I really don't.
But that's that transformative leadership that you were talking about.
That is transformative.
And that makes a difference.
Well, the best leaders let their people go.
Yep.
I mean, they don't try to hold on to them, which holds them back eventually.
Yep.
So.
And I believe in that as actors. Like, you got to remember, all three of us right now could get the same role to audition for. And it's no competition between us. That's the beauty of this art. Mm-hmm. It's between me and me. Efforts between me and me, because we're all uniquely different and we're all a different flavor of ice cream. So that's why I can support. It's why I can root for both of you to get it. I literally root for both of you because I know that all of us are in this thing together. And I want what's best for you. I really do. And I've had good friends get roles over me. I had this one guy for years, him and I would go up against each other because he plays kind of a darker version of me. And people would say, does it ever annoy you? No, man, I'm happy for my friend.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. And having gotten the audition for the same role in the series that we talked about earlier.
I mean, I try to tank you as a reader, I try to make it really
sabotage
extra hard for you, but somehow you overcome.
It's kind of hurtful. So going back, we did, and for viewers, we did kind of a Between Two Ferns kind of introduction here, which was fun to do. By the way, Jim didn't know any of the questions beforehand, so all of that was acting and improv. Yes, and. But we talked about the whole truth. I know we're skipping around a little bit. You've got so much. We could talk about so much, but we're skipping around. The whole truth was you and Keanu. And we talked a little bit about how you shadowed. I don't know if you're able to talk about this. Shadowed an attorney or a Commonwealth's attorney just to kind of figure out how to kind of move and get into that vibe. What was that like for you? And what was it like to just get the call to work with Keanu? One of the things that you and I talked about recently here, and again, we're skipping around a little bit, are the self-tape things.
When you start putting more pressure on the tech of your audition, then you're adding anxiety that's opposite, because it doesn't matter how cinematic it's going to look. If you're not prepared in delivering an honest performance, it ain't gonna matter.